involved, which make it a lot more challenging, and the knowledge levels are much more involved. So you're going to see longer, more detailed questions, and the difference between the right answer and the three other choices will be more subtle. So you need to really be ready for that. This is a question from Addie. Will this presentation be available with audio line as well? Well, I'm assuming that you can actually hear me now, so I guess as you're wondering, about the recorded version, yes, the recorded version will be out there. We post these online, as I've mentioned a few times in the past, and you can go back and listen to them. Okay. Now here's an interesting question from Vanitha Kumar. Do we need to clear ISTQB intermediate and to take up the advanced course, or are both intermediate and advanced the same? This is a great question because I know that there's been a lot of confusion about this. Let me be really clear. There is no ISTQB intermediate certification. None. The ISTQB does not recognize an intermediate certification. The ISTQB does not require an intermediate certification. It does not fit anywhere into the ISTQB scheme at this time. It is a ISTQB, or excuse me, ISEB, International or Information Systems Examination Board certification. That's what the advanced is. It was introduced by the ISEB, or ISEB, which is a branch of the British Computer Society, and it's primarily a UK-focused, UK item, if you will. And in my opinion, there's basically very little value add there in terms of if you're planning on going on from the foundation to the advanced, that taking the intermediates in between would be, honestly, I think a waste of your time. That if you applied yourself to the foundation material and mastered all the learning objectives at the foundation level, you will be adequately prepared to move directly into the advanced. This is not just my opinion as an author of both the foundation and the advanced syllabi, but it is also my experience having delivered, my company having delivered foundation and advanced training around the world, and we have not ever had anybody come back to us anywhere where we've delivered training and said, gee, I really wish that you had something in between the foundation and the advanced because it was too big of a step up. Now, what I have had people tell me is, I'm sorry I didn't apply myself harder in the foundation class because I focused on squeaking through the exam, and I managed to do that and pass with a average to low grade, and now I'm really struggling to do the advanced. And that's absolutely the case. And this is, if you went to college or you took classes in high school where you had prerequisites, you know this, you remember this. If you got a C on a class that was a prerequisite for another class, when you took the next class, it was really hard, right? And if you got an A in a class that was a prerequisite for the next class, when you took that next class, it was a lot easier, right? And the same applies here. If you apply yourself, you work hard, you really master the learning objectives at the foundation level, you will go in and do the advanced stuff and have no problem with it. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, I can take the intermediate and it gives me some sort of career cachet. But honestly, I don't know. Maybe this is different in different regions, but it's hard for me to imagine that an employer is going to be impressed by somebody saying, well, I got foundation, intermediate, and advanced test manager, as opposed to just foundation and advanced test manager, because intermediate clearly is below advanced. So the fact that you added an extra rung into the ladder, you are where you are in the ladder. So, to the extent that there's confusing information out on the internet and stuff about this intermediate program, please ignore it. At this point, it has nothing to do with the ISTQB. The ISTQB program is very simple. There is a foundation. There are 3 different advanced modules that are above that, which is where the career differentiation takes place. And then there will be the expert, and those are coming out now. So thank you, Vanitha, for asking that important question. Let's see, a couple more questions via email. why did you get involved in the ISTQB program, and why do you think it's valuable? Well, I'll tell you the reason I didn't get involved in it is because I had, having tons of free time on my hands and looking for ways to fill it up. I mean, running a small, growing international consulting company is its own set of challenges. And I think from a business point of view, it certainly would be, better served by spending a whole lot more time focusing on my business. But I really think that I've been fairly successful in this career as a tester. Not as successful as some people have, and made tons of money and retired and on beaches. But this has provided a good living for me and my family, and I feel some need to get involved. And if you think about it, software and systems quality is becoming more and more central to society, and more when software and systems fail, society bears a cost. And history will tell you, if you look at this, when a profession becomes seen as critical to the health, safety, and financial well-being of a society, that regulations and standards are going to follow. Read some of Henry Petrosky's stuff, for example, The Engineer is Human. When he talks about some problems related to civil engineering and how regulations follow from that. So, ultimately, either a profession is going to decide to create its own standards and regulate itself, and the government will, empower the profession to do that, or the government will do all the standardizing and regulating for us. So the choice really is simple to me. We testing professionals can be a self-regulated profession like doctors and lawyers, or we can be a government-regulated profession like barbers and cab drivers. And that's, no offense to barbers and cab drivers, that's just a no-brainer to me. We want to be self-regulated. And the ISTQB program is how we test professionals can start to create standards about what it means to be qualified to work as a tester at various levels of the career. So, I think it's a very valuable thing, and I have been and remain willing to give a lot of time to advance that. Okay, we got another question from Vanitha here, kind of follow up relative to the intermediate. Thanks, Rex. One more question. I've cleared ISEB Foundation. Would I then be able to take up the ISTQB Advanced? That's another great question. Thank you for asking that, Vanitha. Yes. So ISEB is an Information Systems Examination Board. They provide exams, foundation exams, for the UK Test Board, the United Kingdom Test Board. The UK Test Board is the recognized testing board for Scotland, Wales, and England. Ireland has its own. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure if Northern Ireland is covered by the UKTB or covered by the Irish Testing Board or not. But anyway, any exam board, such as ISEB, gains its standing, its legitimacy in the eyes of the ISTQB through a relationship with one or more recognized national boards. The UK Test Board is a recognized national board of the ISTQB, and so since they use ISEB to provide their foundation exams, if you take a foundation exam through ISEB anywhere in the world, then that has to be recognized by all the other national boards as a legitimate foundation certificate. We have basically a borderless program here that every national board is compelled to recognize the certifications and by the way, accreditations of all the other national boards. So that means you can take a training course from any accredited training provider, no matter where you live in the world, and the local national board has to recognize that as accredited and provide you with an exam. And you can take an exam from any exam board anywhere in the world, and then all the other exam boards have to recognize that as equivalent. So now the thing to keep in mind here is that while the ISEB Foundation is a legitimate ISTQB exam, remember the ISEB Intermediate is not. It has no standing with the ISTQB, and at this point in time, the augury is not good for it having standing in front of the ISTQB. Those things could change, but one should not take the ISEB Intermediate exam with the expectation that will be recognized in some way by the ISTQB. But if you take the ISEB Foundation, that will be recognized by any national board. You will have a right to take an ISTQB Advanced exam. based on that, and of course the other qualification requirements such as experience.